Iran has a long history of taking hostages. They use them as bargaining chips in international disputes. This tactic is called hostage diplomacy, and Iran has used it for decades. They want to achieve political goals and seek to advance their interests on the world stage. The hostages are often innocent civilians, coming from countries that Iran sees as adversaries. This includes the United States and other Western nations. Iran detains these individuals on various charges, which are often trumped up and lack any real evidence. The Iranian government uses these hostages as leverage, aiming to secure the release of Iranian prisoners abroad, force the lifting of sanctions, or sometimes demand the unfreezing of Iranian assets held in foreign banks. This strategy has drawn condemnation from the international community. Western governments and human rights organizations criticize Iran, calling for the immediate release of all hostages. They argue that Iran is violating international law and emphasize the human cost of these actions. The 1979 to 1981 Iran hostage crisis was a defining moment. It solidified Iran's reputation for hostage diplomacy. In November 1979, Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, taking 53 American diplomats and citizens hostage. This crisis lasted for 444 days and gripped the world's attention. The hostages were held in harsh conditions and endured psychological torture. The crisis had a profound impact on U.S.-Iran relations. Iran demanded the extradition of the Shah to stand trial in Iran, but the United States refused. The crisis ended in January 1981, and the hostages were released following intense negotiations. The Algiers Accord secured their freedom. The crisis had lasting consequences, damaging U.S.-Iran relations and emboldening Iran, as they saw hostage-taking as an effective tactic. Iran continues to engage in hostage diplomacy. Recent years have seen a number of hostage releases, following a familiar pattern. Iran exchanges hostages for concessions. In 2023, 5 Americans were released after the U.S. released 5 Iranians and agreed to unfreeze $6 billion in Iranian assets. Similar deals have been struck with European countries. These releases suggest a calculated strategy. Iran is not acting out of compassion. They are making calculated moves to maximize their gains. The case of Siamak Namazi is illustrative. He is an Iranian-American businessman who was detained in Iran in 2015, accused of espionage on charges widely seen as baseless. Namazi was released in 2023 after years of campaigning by his family and intense diplomatic efforts. His release coincided with the release of Iranian funds held in South Korea. Section 4. A world on edge: geopolitics and hostages. The current geopolitical climate is tense, and this increases the risk of hostage-taking. Iran is at odds with the United States and its allies. Tensions have escalated in recent years. The U.S. withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal was a turning point. The assassination of Qasem Soleimani further inflamed tensions. Iran may be more likely to take hostages in this climate. They may see it as a way to deter Western action. They may also hope to extract concessions. The detention of individuals with dual nationality is a growing concern. These individuals are particularly vulnerable. Iran does not recognize dual citizenship. This allows them to detain dual nationals without consular access. The recent arrest of Jamshid Sharmad is a case in point. He is a German-Iranian activist. He was abducted by Iranian agents in Dubai in 2020. He is currently on trial in Iran on terrorism charges. His arrest has drawn condemnation from Germany and other Western governments. Section 5. The experts weigh in unconditional release. Unlikely. Experts believe Iran is unlikely to release hostages unconditionally. They argue that Iran sees hostages as valuable assets. Karim Sajadpour is a senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. He argues that Iran uses hostages as pawns in a geopolitical chess game. He believes that Iran will continue to detain hostages as long as it serves their interests. Suzanne Maloney is the director of the Foreign Policy Program at the Brookings Institution. She argues that hostage-taking is deeply ingrained in the DNA of the Islamic Republic. She believes that Iran sees hostage diplomacy as a legitimate tool of statecraft. These expert opinions suggest that the international community faces an uphill battle. Persuading Iran to abandon hostage diplomacy will be difficult. As we have seen, the geopolitical landscape is fraught with tension, and the issue of hostage-taking remains a complex and deeply rooted challenge. The international community must continue to push for dialogue and diplomatic solutions. It's crucial to raise awareness and advocate for the rights and safety of those detained. Only through collective effort and persistent advocacy can we hope to see meaningful change. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel.